The girl got pregnant from a half-human, half-zombie.
Which way to daddy?
Hello everyone, Kino Jack is in touch and this is a short retelling of the first 3 episodes of the second season of the zombie series Nation Z. The first season came to you with a bang, so I immediately took up the sequel. I would like to see the same return and support from you as during the first season. All those who happen to be here by chance, be sure to follow the links in the description and get acquainted with the first season. And as usual, you have thousands of likes, and I have a continuation. Enjoy watching. At the moment of the activation of the nuclear weapon 10K, Doc and Roberta escape the explosion by hiding in a tunnel. All this is happening while Citizen Z is dealing with the problem of capturing the Northern Light listening post by zombies, revived soldiers who died during the unsuccessful evacuation of the post. They were thawed by a thermonuclear missile strike, which failed thanks to the missile defense system protecting the listening post. He subdues them, and then sends an emergency message in which he asks everyone who is listening to be on the lookout and look for Murphy and, as an additional incentive, announces that the Center for Disease Control will be handing out medications and big rewards for Murphy's safe delivery. Mac drives up on his ATV and sees Eddie killing the last revived member of the Sisters of Mercy. Eddie explains to him that Sam is a child who was expelled from the camp on his 13th birthday, returned, burned the camp to the ground and released a zombie bear. Together they go on a search. They decide to inform the others that they are alive, but as a result of the interception for the transmission, it turns out that the whole world is now looking for Murphy, as well as a reward for his capture and escort to the laboratory. Eddie suddenly accepts a strange digital code on his radio, repeating it with excess. Murphy, meanwhile, is peeling off his decaying skin and now has a pretty shiny silver color. He also has his own zombie squad, and they've all gone looting in a clothing store when he runs into a survivor who wants to take him prisoner for a reward. However, the plan is foiled when Cassandra appears and kills him. Cassandra, like Murphy, is half zombie, half human. Murphy tells Cassandra not to give the man any mercy and turns him into her personal zombie assistant. Meanwhile, Roberta begins to have a breakdown, as she went alone in search of help for 10K and the injured Doc. Before she commits suicide, rather than dying of hunger, thirst or radiation, she hears a sound with which a large number of zombies attack the girl. She saves the girl and gets into the family. They give her water ammunition and she meets up with Doc, 10K, Mac and Eddie, who have reunited. The group travels to Cheyenne, Wyoming, where they find Murphy running a zombie strip club. Roberta demands that he accompany them to California, but instead Murphy shows them zombie strippers. Suddenly, when bounty hunter Vasquez arrives to pick up Murphy, pandemonium ensues, and Murphy and Cassandra are shunned. As a result, Roberta and the gang decide to find Murphy and bring him to California, and Citizen Z goes in search of help. Meanwhile, Serena, a member of the Sisters of Mercy who had sexual relations with Murphy, is now pregnant. She wanders the countryside with her child in search of Murphy. When the team continues to try to get Murphy out of Cheyenne to the Center for Disease Control, bounty hunters appear in the city, among them a formally dressed Hispanic man with a rocket launcher. Cassandra is still running around in a swimsuit and fur coat and seems to have started attacking people like zombies do. A Mexican with a rocket launcher shoots at a 10-year-old, who falls and hits his head. He returns from the other world, but temporarily becomes deaf. He and Doc run together in search of Murphy, who used his psychokinetic abilities to convince a zombie about his size and build to change clothes and become a bait. When Vasquez tracks down the bait, he is attacked by Cassandra. While Doc is trying to protect 10K, he is confronted by a sniper and ends up suffocating almost to death in a hotel room. Doc almost dies as his spirit hovers over his body, but he notices a small dagger and uses it to kill the man who strangled him. Citizen Z is being chased by a crowd of zombie soldiers at the North Pole, but despite the fact that an incident from his past flashed before his eyes, Citizen Z pulls through. Roberta is rescued from a bounty hunter by Vasquez, but not before she sees a vision from her past of how she nearly drowned in the pool. Murphy, tired of all this and just wanting to stop running around, jumps from the roof of the hotel and falls into a pool filled with zombies. Eddie desperately tries to rescue Mac from the zombie-infested stairs, but she's too late. Mac turns into a zombie, and Eddie finishes him off. A man in a suit shows that he has the letter Z tattooed on his arm. Eddie rejoins the team, expresses his anger and sadness by using Murphy as a punching bag, and everyone decides to head west as soon as possible. As the radiation clouds build up, the team has to come up with a new plan to get to California. However, there are several new reasons for concern. Cassandra seems to be having a really hard time in her new life as an almost zombie. A new breed of zombie has appeared. A train of survivors and several new bounty hunters appeared out of nowhere. The cavalcade of cars belongs to a man named Samuel Custer, who leads his people to Edmonton, Canada. It's cold out there, and zombies don't like it. But they have a long way to go, and they are in an area that is flooded with mega-zombie blasters that died during nuclear explosions. When the team decides to compare their strength with the convoy, a cute simpleton named Raking Ball takes Murphy and Doc aside and forces them to get stoned for tweet herbs made from zombie corpses as compost. When Custer arrests them, Murphy has to ride in a medical van with people dying from radiation poisoning or, as Eddie and Roberto call it, a zombie bomb waiting to explode. When Murphy gets Cassandra hooked on the Z-grass, she becomes a little more spastic than we've seen her in the recent past, albeit a little more consistent. When the convoy is attacked by a group of bounty hunters, Roberto and Vasquez find out that they make a good team, and Cassandra saves Doc and the Wrecking Ball by jumping on the hood of the car and chewing off the guy's face. This gives Doc and Wrecking Ball enough time to escape, but their cars are successfully hijacked and take away the entire supply of water for the convoy. The team manages to catch up with a car with water and a bloodied Cassandra, who quickly dealt with the hijackers, although Murphy manages to steal the car himself, accompanied by Cassandra and the Wrecking Ball. Then, as predicted, the medical van turns into a zombie garden, where one guy dies, attacks another, and so on, until Eddie finds herself between ordinary Z's and terrifying blasters coming at her from the road. Eddie saves 10 in time when Roberto leads the team through a barricade of blasters and safely leaves the column. Sam Custer, who was slowly but surely losing his mind due to exposure to radiation, was unlucky. The blaster ate his face.
I've never jumped from a moving car, and today boom for the second time.
Murphy, Cassandra, and their new buddy Wrecking Ball head to a lab in Minneapolis where they grow Z-grass.
Watching.
Minneapolis is 80 miles away, and the team goes in search of Murphy.